Good morning, guys. Today we are going to continue working on activity 4.4. We started it yesterday. We're going to finish it today and try to get to activity 4.5. Um, and then that will be where we stop today. So a couple pages and then we'll be done for today. Um, Looking at question 3, it's telling us consider the right rectangular prism shown. Its bases are shaded. Sketch the bases and lateral faces of prism, include the dimensions of each. So the bases, as they said, are shaded. We can tell. I'm going to put a little red line on it. That's shaded, and that piece there is shaded. So that's a shape. We're going to write bases here. We're going to draw two rectangles. If you draw them and hold it, draw it best to a rectangle and hold it, it will copy a rectangle for you. They don't need to be exactly the same, but just do the best you can. We're going to label the sides. So we know this part here that I just put a black line on is our width. So the small side would be our width. The long piece here would be our length. So that'd be an L. So if you were able to label two rectangles like that, you're getting full credit. Now, our lateral faces, I'm going to put LF for lateral. First one, I'm going to put in pink, is going to be this box right here. And this one right over there. So I'm going to draw two little squares. Make sure these are squares, not rectangles. I mean, make them the best that you can as a square. So you got to draw two of them because there's obviously two sides to it. And we're going to call the vertical part right here that I'm drawing a black line, the H. So we're going to do H on each. And then we're going to do back to this other black line, our width. So underneath will be our width, just like that. Then, next, we have to draw, I know it's going to be a little tricky to see, but we have to draw, I'm going to put in a box. We'll do a blue. This face right here. So we did the top and bottom with the bases. Now we have to do this in the front and the back with this little squares. Now we got to do the lateral face, which is a face that's looking at us, which is another rectangle. Okay, so again, just draw a rectangle, hold it, and it'll make it into a perfect rectangle for you. They don't have to be exactly the same height or same everything, but just so I know. So we know that the vertical spot right here of the face would be an H. We know the long bottom would be an L for length. There's our answers to this. Now, they're asking us to determine the area of each face. So our bases would just be W times L. So you could just write this as LW because that's meaning they're multiplying. When the two letters are next to each other, they are multiplying. And our lateral faces would end up being WH, comma, WH. So that we're saying that we're multiplying this one, the top one and bottom one, comma, LH, or HL, whichever way is fine, comma, LH. Because there's four different ones, so we have to have four different formulas there. Now, C, use your sketch to write the formulas for the total surface area and lateral surface area of the right rectangular prism. Explain your reasoning. So we're going to get writing these. So we're going to do TSA for total surface area. So we have to look at the area of all the faces of prisms. So we know that there's going to be two of these. So we're going to have to write that as 2L W. I'll write better W for you. And if we remember right, we have to add these together plus There's going to be 2 of these, 2WH, and we know that there's 2 of these, plus 2LH. Okay, so that's how we find the total surface area, is that we add all these up. So we have to add whatever this is, and whatever the base is, whatever the 2 lateral surface faces are. Now, for our lateral surface area, this is going to be a little more. So now, we have to pull surface area of all faces of the prism except the bases. So we don't do the bases for this one. So this is only the lateral. So we have to do 2WH plus 2LH. Okay, so that gives us pretty much the other squares besides the bases. Okay, so lateral surface area does not give you the bases. Total surface area adds the bases in. All right, now we're going to skip 4. I'm not going to sit here and do 4. So we're going to go to number 5 on the next page and work on that one. Determine the lateral surface area and total surface area of the right prism shown. The bases of the prism are shaded. Identify the length, width, and height of the prism. Okay, so length, width, height. Okay, these 3 letters, that's what they're always going to mean. Length, width, height. So our length, if we know our base is the shaded. Okay, so think of the height. How tall up is this? We're going to look at that one first. So that's going to be 4 centimeters because 4 centimeters, because we can look at this as height right there. All right, our width is going to be, how deep is it go? Like this shade there, that would be another 4 centimeters. And then lastly, our length, how long is it, is right there, so that'd be 22 centimeters. So right there alone, we got our numbers that we need to know. Apply the formula to determine the lateral surface area of the prism. Okay, so now we got to find the lateral surface area. So we look back at kind of what our formula was up here, because it's the same shape, just our bases are a little different. Now, we're going to be looking at this. We're going to be looking at 4L. We're going to be looking at, calculate this out now. We're going to be looking at 2LH plus 2LW. Yep. Okay, so length is going to be 2 parentheses 22 parentheses 4 plus 2 parentheses 22 parentheses 4. So once again, in our handy dandy calculator on your app, or you can do this one on your phone, if you type in 2 parentheses 22 parentheses 4 parentheses plus 2 parentheses 22 parentheses again 4, enter it in, and your grand total from this, I know it's a lot to kind of figure out and type in, would be 352 squared centimeters. Again, the squared because we are finding the surface area is always going to be squared. Now number C is asking us to do the total surface area. So this is where we do the 2LH plus 2LW plus, now we're doing the base, which would be 2WH, because we see the shaded is the base. So now we already know this is 352. So now we're just going to add 2 times width, which is 4, times 4, which is the height. So 2 times 4 gives us 8. And then times that by 4 again gives us 32. So 352 plus 32 gives us 384 squared centimeters as our answer. Okay, so if you're having issues on seeing how I'm doing this, you need to let me know. Send me an email so I can help you, or a comment on this. When you can figure out that which parts of the formula goes to what. So for example, while these two rectangles are the same shape, the difference is that the bases for the top one here from number 3 are the top, which was up here where I'm shading right now, and down here. This time they flipped it to the sides, so we just have to kind of change the formula around a little bit. Now, number 6 is talking about consider the right rectangular pyramid shown. Sketch the bases and lateral faces of the pyramid, include the dimensions. So now, this one's easy. Our base is just the bottom, okay? And if you can tell from me drawing on this shape down here, you should be able to tell that that's a square. So right now, our base is a square. We should be able to also pull from here our length and width. So one side's our length, the other side's our width. Okay? Oh, I'm sorry, I flipped them around. Length, width, because we're looking at it from a vertical above. Now, our lateral faces. This is where it gets a little tricky. If we can tell that there's 4 corners, so that means there's going to be 4 sides to this. And we can tell by one shape here, I'm going to put in the pink, or we should be able to tell from right here. Did not give a good one, but as you can tell, holding it for too long, it gives me a triangle shape. So we know that our lateral faces are going to be triangles. So with that, you need to draw 4, because we said there's going to be 4 faces of it, triangles. Once again, just get them as best you can to be as similar. If they're not exactly similar, it's not the end of the world. Now, with this, we know 2 of them, the one I just did in pink and the one on the opposite side, are going to have a length on the bottom. Okay? Each one of these is going to have an S coming through, so you need to draw a line through the middle with an S. So that goes for all 4 of these. We'll have that in it. So right down the middle, draw an S in the middle. And now, since we got the S's and that stuff and the lengths on the other ones, the other 2 will have a width at the bottom. And that's how you do the first one. Now, the lateral area for this, determine the area of each face they're asking us to do. Excuse me. We got to do our bases, or base, and lateral faces. So our base would just be L times W. So you can just write LW. Now, our lateral faces of triangles get a little more tricky. Each time we do these, we have to do 1/2 and then the symbol. So the first one, we're going to do 1/2 LS, 1/2 LS. Next, we would do 1/2 WS, 1/2 WS. Okay? For triangles, we always have, it's a half. Okay? So when you get to that point, especially a right triangle, because you can see that there's a right triangle right down here, this is how you have that written up. Now to use your sketch to write the formula for this total surface area. So I'm going to do TSA again, and I'm going to put down here LSA, so that we know which ones are which. So our total surface area is just going to be LW plus, now with these, we would normally have it as before, 2 and that. But because they're both halves, we just have to put plus LS plus WS. Because before it was a solid WS, now it's 1/2 WS, 1/2 WS. Adding those together gives you one solid. Okay? Then the lateral surface, as we've said, does not include the base. So that one would just be LS plus WS because it's not including the base. So that's where we take the LW completely out from that one. All right. Let's look at this next one because it's talking about cones. I want to make sure you are good with cones. We're not going to do Michael's formula, but we're going to do the next base stuff with cones, and we may call it from there, and then I'll pick up the rest of this on Monday. So this part says you can also apply formulas for the lateral and total surface areas of cones to solve problems. A right cone is made up of two faces, a circular base and a wedge-shaped lateral face. The area of the circular base is given by pi r squared. The area of the lateral face is given by 1/2 2 pi r parentheses squared s, or pi r squared, or I'm sorry, pi rs, where s is a slant height of the cone. Okay, so what they're saying here, just for clarification, is that the lateral face, so this is the shape that we're talking about right here. Okay, you have a base, which is a circle. Pretty easy. We know that shape pretty well. We've been working on that with the R being the radius. And then the second part of it is the lateral face. It's the wedge shape. Okay. You find this by 1/2, because it is still a triangle, so 1/2 pi r squared parentheses s, or just pi r s. The s is a slant, so that's the side up there. So write the formulas for the lateral surface area and total surface area. So we're going to go TSA first, and then LSA here. So, easy way to do this, total surface area would just be, for the base, which we always know, pi r squared, we'd add pi rs, as we saw right here. Okay, now the next one does not include the base, so this should just be pi rs, or you just rewrite this whole part here, 1/2 times 2 pi r parentheses squared s. Okay. This first part of the lateral surface area, I'm fine with you writing. You don't have to write the big long one if you don't need to. If you remember that first one, that is fine with me. Now, determine the lateral and total surface area of the cone round to the nearest hundredth. That means we're going to be having to round things up. Determine the slant height, s, and the radius, r, of the cone. Okay, we know, or should know, that what I'm highlighting right now is the base. That's the base of the cone. Radius is essentially roughly what I just drew. If the whole thing is 10, radius is half of diameter, so 10 is the diameter, radius would then end up being 5 feet. Our slant is the side that's slanting. Okay? The slant height would then be 6.4 feet. Because this here is not a slant. That's the height of it. So that is what the 4 comes in there. Okay? So right there, you just answer the slant height and the radius of the cone. Apply the formula to determine the lateral surface area of the cone. Lateral surface area, as remember, is just pi rs. So this should be pi parentheses r, which we said is 5, parentheses 6.4. So this one you have to type in the actual pi symbol. They want the actual answer. So if you do 5 times 6.4 in your calculator times, and if you're doing the calculator on the iPad, you would hit second and the caret key to get the pi symbol, comes out to being 100.53 squared feet, because the next number, we're rounding the nearest hundredths, so the third number after the decimal is a thousandths, is a 0. We can't round that up, so we just leave it like that, and it would end up being squared feet, because that's our unit of measure we're talking about. Now we have to find total surface area. So again, this is pi r squared plus pi rs. We already have pi rs. That's 100.53. We add that to pi parentheses 5 squared. So we should know 5 squared is just 25. So we take 25 times pi. So once again, 25 times second caret key comes out to be 78.54, because the next number after 3 is a 9, so we round that up. We add that to 100.53, and our answer should come out to be 179.07 squared feet. And that's our final answer. Okay. Once again, once you get the formula figured, then you can just sit there and write and figure out what pieces go where, and you can be able to answer this. I will make sure to have these formulas on a test so that you don't have to try and memorize them. Okay? You just have to remember which pieces go to which, and what is our total surface area, and what is a lateral surface area formula, like which one it goes to which. I'm going to stop here for today. Monday we will continue with activity 4.5. Don't forget, Tuesday at 10 o'clock we are having a Zoom meeting. I have shared it via email. I have also put it on the calendar on the e-learning assignment. All it is just you're going on. If you don't want to be on video, you don't have to be video. Just go on for a verbal so I can hear you. I just checking in to see how you are doing, if you have any questions with anything, and going on from there. As you guys know, we are at least going to be closed until April 30th per the governor's request. So I will be doing this once a week, every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. I'll be having this meeting, just checking in. We may do some work on things together and just kind of help each other out. If you have any questions, please reach out to me via email, and I will assist you with anything that I can. Thank you guys, and have a great rest of your day.